So today's going to be a first for me, and quite frankly, it's going to be pretty weird. This is going to be just about the first ever regular Marvel action figure that I've ever purchased. This is definitely going to be an interesting one for me because I am a Transformers collector, and this being basically the first non-Transformers item that I've purchased as an action figure. So right out of the package, this box came super crippled, and to be honest, I don't even blame the shipper because this box is just super cheap. It's very thin, it's not well made, and for a figure of this price, this is just not excusable. As far as the figure itself is concerned, it's about a 5.5 to 6 inch figure, and this guy is really nicely painted. That's the first massive compliment I'm just gonna hand out to it. The red on it looks fantastic. The blue is kind of this matte color, not nearly as shiny, but it complements the red perfectly. Overall, it just has the looks, and while I'm not a fan of the typical gaps that the action figure humanoid characters have, this suits it okay because it is a robotic suit and I can kind of excuse it. Aside from that, let's talk a little bit about the posability. Going from top to bottom, I'll just put it this way, he's nicely posable. He gets into most solid Spider-Man poses, and that makes me happy. You guys know that my typical action figure test for making sure that a figure is as posable as I want it to be is by doing the kneeling pose, where one foot is on the floor and then the other knee is on the ground, basically leaning down towards the floor. It can do it just fine. It passes the test, so, you know, congratulations. I did also forget to mention this thing has a ton of accessories. Holy crud. It has a lot of replaceable hands, a lot of different web alternations that you can attach to his wrist. Then he has this Tom Holland head variation, and that's the last we're going to talk about that because I don't want to freaking look at that. And now we got to talk about these Iron Spider leg accessories. Basically, you remove the back of the Iron Spider figure in order to attach these on. And this is going to be my transition over to the negatives of this figure because there's some problems we have to address, and this is the first massive one. These spider legs are stupid loose on his back. They fall off like nothing I've ever seen. Oh, I gotta be honest, I accidentally got a lot of really good footage of just how terribly loose these spider legs are. Next up, these butt flaps. They're just weird. They help with the leg articulation, and for that I do appreciate them, but they just kind of look like a diaper, and even more than just their looks, their functionality is obnoxious. They're loose, they flap around if they're not tucked up in the butt. But let's talk about one of the biggest problems this figure has. The feet will not go flat, and I've checked both feet. They both have the identical issue, so I know it's not just my copy, it's just the way it was designed. Is because of the toe bend, the feet are never flat, and let me tell you, this thing is a royal pain in the bootay to get standing in any way. This is a bit of a nitpick, but it's worth mentioning that the peg hole on his back that you can attach the stand to is awkwardly placed. I've never seen a figure where you attach these stands to the top of his back. Now, something I do have to give this figure is the joints don't flop around. They're not super loose, so if you hold it in a planking pose, they will not flop over. But honestly, the only reason for that is because this figure is incredibly light. There's not a single speck of die cast on this whole figure. This just brings me to my overall thoughts of the figure because I have a lot of mixed feelings on it. At the start, it is fun, it's well painted, and it's a really posable Spider-Man figure that will look really good on anyone's desk. But that's also not really what I'm here to review. I'm also here to figure out if this is worth buying, not just for me, but also for you. The cost to value ratio for this is so drastically different from any average Transformer I've bought. It's kind of wild. My main complaint is the price for what I'm getting. This cost me $92, and for that same price, there are some high quality masterpiece Transformers that weigh about 5 times as much, have actual metal die cast parts to them, have paint applications that are just about as good as this one, and has way more complex engineering with the transformation and the accessories involved. Frankly, it blows my mind that my recently reviewed 3.0 DLX Optimus Prime figure is only 2 times as expensive as this, because based off of the actual paint that they use, the electronics, the weight, the die cast, this thing compared to that should be like 10 times more expensive because it's got way more materials and way more engineering involved than this figure does.
Hey there, Dad.
But the point is, if you're gonna spend your hard-earned money on an action figure, just kind of be aware of where it's coming from. And for all my Transformers fans out there who like to complain about the rising cost of Transformers action figures, do me a favor, buy this figure and hang out with it for just a few days. And hopefully it'll get you a little bit more grateful about what your money is getting you in the Transformers community. Other than that, I'll see you guys soon. Later, guys.